Okay, so what I'm doing today is basically just trying to get a couple of these shots completed so that I can get the larger sequence behind me and move on to the battle that's going to take place here shortly. But here's the what's going on is we went from this shot, which when it's properly rendered you can see there's those black spots are actually shadows. It goes into this sequence here, and that's where we're at. So I'm going down into the sub X sheet, and the first thing I did was I actually created a level to the left of my two characters, and I took this image here that I've used for a background in a previous shot, dragged that in to here, and then I turned the opacity of it way down so I could sort of see what I was doing since my characters weren't colored yet. Then I went to the first frame of it and used the Animate Tool, which is the A key probably for most people, to essentially scale that to the right size. And with that, I then needed the proper palette for these two guys. So what I did was I have in the folder, the Toons folder, Val's Anime, which is sort of the general name we call this project. In the palettes I have Ninja 2 TPL, which is the palette I had saved from another scene. And I simply dragged and dropped that into this palette. However, when you drag and drop a palette in OPENTOONZ, it actually is, if you look really closely here, you can see that there are actually the basic colors palette, and then there's the new palette that I dragged and dropped in. Well, I've found that it can be problematic. So what I had previously was just these two colors in this palette, and then all these in the other palette. So what I did was I went into the Ninja palette and selected everything, hit Control C, and actually pasted them into the colors palette. The reason I did that is I have found that if you're actually selecting colors from separate palettes, OPENTOONZ can get confused. Let's put it that way. So we don't want OPENTOONZ getting confused. We want to just get our work done. So now at this point I'm hitting the F key. I'm going through, and let's get this guy colored in. I can see one little issue right there. So I'm switching to Freehand Mode so that fills properly. Now the ninja costumes are pretty black, and frankly I don't know if I like that, so I'm thinking I'm going to add a little bit of value. Actually, no, that's not what I'm supposed to do. Oh, and by the way, I've made a mistake here. I've been sitting here painting from the wrong palette. So I'm going to, I'm actually not sure what to do about that. So let me go ahead and delete all these colors. I'm going to delete everything. Okay, that's interesting. Now I go back here to the colors palette. Let's see. Okay, that's empty. And we have these here. So unfortunately that means I'm going to have to start kind of over. All that's colored in is the stuff that was previously colored in from the correct palette. So this is only going to take a second. Click, click, click. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through and grab these problematic areas right here, and I'm hitting the period and the comma key to toggle between the drawings. So if I was hitting the arrows, if you look over here, if I hit the arrows it'll actually go from frame to frame, but if I hit the period and the comma key it'll jump from drawing to drawing. And since I'm on 4s here, there's not much. In fact, it's actually would be kind of bad to use the arrows, because if I accidentally went to a frame in between and started drawing or something, it would insert a new keyframe and just introduce confusion. So anyway, what I was getting at when I was talking about the black color is that actually the outlines are not supposed to be black. Okay, the outlines are supposed to be a little bit of a lighter gray, like that. And the reason for that is so that we can use the black color for the costume, and the, as you can see, the lines still show up. Now, as you can also see, there's plenty of reason that we are going to want to use the freehand mode in doing the coloring here, because it's actually missing quite a lot, which is completely understandable. I mean, go try to use any other program doing flood fills, and you'll find that they all have these same issues, so no great harm. So now what the question becomes is, should I simply do everything this way? Or should I try clicking and then seeing how it works? Well, considering that there's only 4 keyframes, frankly, it doesn't much matter. I'll tell you, if it was up to me, OPENTOONZ would have the ability, and by the way, if somebody out there knows that I'm talking out the wrong end here, I was going to say the ability to assign hotkeys to this. I'd love to have a hotkey to switch between freehand and regular mode. As far as I know, there is no such ability to do that. Whoops, we don't want that. So I'm just not a big fan of clicking, frankly. You know, I'd rather not have to click if I can use a hotkey. So no big deal, though. I think what we'll do is we'll just jump between these, get the basic coloring in there, and then we'll go back and clean it up and fix it a bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now I've got all my drawings. I'm going back to the top drawing, and now I'm going to switch to freehand mode. I'm just basically looking for problems. So what I'm going to do is hit the tilde key, so I go into full screen mode. That way I can just see a little better. And let's see here, period key, maybe there, maybe there, period key. So this is, the good thing about this is, if you want to do animation, this is really what it's about. This is what it's about. You better love this, because this kind of detail work, and I don't know if I love it. I like it. It's pretty peaceful work, and when the final result is good, you know, it's enjoyable. But you know, my point is that there's no getting around this detail work if you really want the work to be good. Now, one thing I can do here is hit the K key, and that selects the blue color off the palette. So now I can hit the F key and go through and just catch this little bit here. Now actually I'm going to hit the K key again, and now the fill tool, because I missed something there. Okay, and I think I'm at the beginning. Yeah, actually I think I missed that repeatedly. Okay, that's not too bad. You know, what happens is as you toggle through the frames, like right here, I can see it chatter, so I know I kind of blew that. Right there. Yeah, that's better. It still chatters a little bit, but okay, so now what I'm going to do is hit the K key, and I'm going to hit the comma key repeatedly so I know that I'm at the first frame. And now I'm hitting the F key to fill. What I'm looking for is just whatever needs to be tweaked. I see what's happening. Let me Control Z. There we go. I was inadvertently catching some of the area that's actually supposed to be black. Now, I do have one problem. Yeah, K key, grab the black, F key. Gotta get these little toesies. Gotta get the toesies. Gotta get the toesies. Okay, now technically, if you're really picky about it, this should probably be black. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that the leather color. So anyway, tilde key, and now I'm going back to, well actually let's go ahead and get his hair in there. Maybe we'll get lucky. Let's see. Okay, so frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4. Okay, you can see there's one little issue right there. Okay, cool. And by the way, you may know this, but OpenToonz does have the ability to either click or select an area, and then if you select frame range, you could do the first frame and then go to the last frame, and it'll interpolate between all the frames. And in this case, that would have worked pretty well actually, but I just didn't really bother with it. So, okay, but I can show that actually. Let's do it like this. Let's go to frame range. I'm going to go select this. Actually, forget that. The feet are the part that move. So this is not going to work. We do not want to use frame range here. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm trying to be Mr. Teacher a little, probably more than I should. I don't like that color for that. Continuity with prior shots in the sequence isn't really that important since you're talking about 4 frames that go by really, really fast. Just want to make sure we've got a little bit of a different color here. Yeah, and as you can see, that is not going to fill well, so I've got to... Alright, let's just go through and make it nice. Get that, get that. Probably get that, just for kicks and giggles. Yep. Here I have to be careful I don't catch the little part of the toe area that's supposed to be black. Okay. Feeling pretty good about that. Now one thing we're going to have to address at some point is shadows. So that's a whole nother discussion. But at the moment, I think what I'm going to do is just, whoops, how did we get black? Well, because I clicked on a separate frame. And OpenToonz kind of sort of thought that was what I wanted. So, no problem. Let's do that. Okay, this is where we could use the... Let's use frame range. I'll just kind of demonstrate it. So, I circle this, and then I go to this frame, and I circle the same thing. And what happened? Maybe frame... Okay, I think OpenToonz is about to blow up. Apparently, it could be, I'm not sure here, but it could be that frame range does not work if you are using freehand mode, and that's unfortunate because autosave was quite a while ago, so that means I just lost a bunch of work. Well, welcome to the world of OpenToonz, folks. It's like a lot of software. It is what it is. You really want to save early, save often, and in this case, unless OpenToonz is saving the pictures as I'm going along coloring them, we're about to find out that this didn't work. Yeah, we're screwed. We're screwed. Okay, so it happens. I was actually, this is the situation that calls into question whether I should even be doing YouTube videos, because frankly, if I had not been talking, I would not, there's no way I would have made those mistakes, because I always save like really, really frequently. And this is really the only time I haven't. So it's your fault, people. It's your fault. But I'm going to give this a crack. I'm going to go down here, and I blew it. I didn't select frame range. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's try it again. Let's click. Click. Okay, what just happened? OpenToonz. Odd. I'm doing normal frame range. Click. Click. Look at that. So not only did the X sheet jump around, but in addition, the color that it filled in, it jumped to color number 1. When what I had pretty specifically asked for was color number 16, I thought. But see what happened? After it did the frame range, the palette jumped to color 1. Now that's kind of similar, actually, to what you see with painting, where if I was hit the B key, and if I was drawing, what would happen would be, let's just go here. if I was drawing with color number 19, let's say, okay, and I were to jump to this level and then jump back, it will always, well, you just saw it happen. So I'm going to select color 15, and if I jump to column 4 and then jump back to column 3, look what happened. It jumped back to brush number 1. Well, OpenToonz does that all the time. Clearly that's a bug, but okay, so this is kind of a drag, but what have we learned here? Number 1, we are not going to use frame range. As cool as the feature appears to be at first blush, what we see is that in practice, and this is so true with so many things about OpenToonz, is it's super, super capable software. But what I've learned the hard way is stick to the basics. There are things it does really well, and then there's a whole bunch of features. Well, guess what? Those features, a lot of them, are real buggy. So don't use them. Use what works. And so that's what we're going to stick with, because otherwise it's just too doggone frustrating. So this was actually a mistake. This is supposed to be painted here, and what we were supposed to have is that color. So I'll just go ahead and do that now. But of course, as you can see, it introduced a problem there. Okay, so we've got that color. I think we'll put 18 here, and the reason I'm doing this is so that I've actually got all the colors available to choose from, so I can actually again use the K key to just quickly select colors off of the palette. I'm sorry, I said off of the palette. I meant off of the image itself. So anyway, you know, it's certainly not the first time I've lost some work. But when you, in fact, by the way, see, this is normally what I do. I just hit Control S. Normally I do that like constantly, like every 2 minutes I'm probably hitting Control S just to save my work as I go. But yeah, I really don't like jumping between normal and freehand, just because you have to click with the mouse. I find that really irritating. Not my idea of a good time. So I'm going to color all of that and then turn around and grab this. You know, so you sort of clunk your way through. Alright, so now what I want to do here, okay, I guess I started on the second image. So what I'm going to do is hit the K key, then back to the F key, and then go here. I'll just get these guys all in there. Okay. Now the actual, oh, come on. See, this is a great example. I needed to switch to freehand. So if anybody out there knows a way to switch it to freehand without having to click, let me know, because I don't like having to click. I find clicking annoying, very irritating. Yes. Yeah, that was Megatron. That was Megatron saying, yeah. I used to have my ringtone on my phone used to be, I voice this. This is Megatron, leader of the Predacons. You have a priority call coming through. You will not ignore it. No. Yeah, that's what I did. I did that. Because I liked Beast Wars back in the day. Back in the day is gone. Beast Wars used to be a thing. Yeah, man, I hate switching back and forth. Click, 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 click. I'm just not a clicker, man. I'm not a clicker. I am a hotkey kind of guy. I like hotkeys, not clicking. Mousing. I'm not a Mac user. Mac users love to click. if you're an Apple person, oh, there's nothing that makes you happier than taking your mouse and clicking a menu, clicking anything that could be done in one step with a hotkey. Mac users like when it takes 50 steps. Click, 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 click. I'm sorry, Mac users. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm half kidding. I'm not completely kidding, truthfully. And that's just based on people I know who are Mac users. They literally, it doesn't bother them that they have to click 50 times to do what could easily be done with a hotkey. I've never quite understood it. And maybe we're not talking about modern Mac users. Maybe we should go back, admit that we're really talking about Mac users from 10 years ago or prior, that sort of thing. But, okay. Okay, we did it. Now we got to go here, and we see we've got the same palette here, so that's good. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to go to normal, and I'm going to save my work, and just for kicks and giggles, we're going to try using frame range again, just because I'm stupid. So I'm at the first frame, click, and I go to the third frame, click. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. Click, click. Okay. And it used the wrong color. Why did it use the wrong color? Because stupid OPENTOONZ jumped back to the first color in the palette. So it's a good example of where a feature that is ostensibly very cool is rendered utterly useless. Utterly useless because it actually takes more time to use the frame range feature than to not use it. Simply because every time you use it, you have to go back and click, 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 which is the whole thing you were trying to avoid by using the frame range feature, right? Why else would you use frame range? Because you don't want to have to click 75 times. You just want to click twice. Ah, Kimosabi, that's not how it works. Not with OPENTOONZ. With OPENTOONZ, you get to click even more by using the click saving feature. Well, that's one of the things I rant about. When I rant, I'm usually ranting about stuff with software that seems to me to be stupid or seems to reveal that the developers truly don't get it. So an example of that would be I used to use Spotify for music, and now I use Google Play. The only reason I use Google Play, you can argue that they actually have more music a little bit than Spotify, but that's not the reason. That has nothing to do with it. The reason I use Google Play, okay, by the way, OPENTOONZ bug, I just accidentally filled, and now when I hit Control Z, undo, it's undoing everything except what I want to undo, which is this strap. So, yeah, another bug. It is what it is. But anyway, talking about software, software developers who don't get it. Okay, so here's an example of software that doesn't get it. In Google Play Music, compared to Spotify, everything performs dramatically worse when it comes to like loading up your music and stuff. And here's why. When you're loading up your music in Google Play always shows you all these really exciting pictures of the artist. You know, like the album covers and things like that. And it kind of, you can sort of see the ordering of their algorithm. You can see by the way it plays out that they've got it structured in such a way that the art really loads before the music does. Okay? So that reveals software developers that just amazingly and brazenly don't understand their users at all. Because the reason I use a music app is for the music. And so the irony of it is, why would you have the album covers always loading up? Well, because you want me to have a rich user experience. Oh, it's so cool. I get to see all my favorite artists. I see their pictures. It's so exciting. It's almost like we're connected. Okay? And the net result is, the thing I actually am paying for, the thing I actually want, which is the music, winds up being delayed. It loads choppily. Why? So what are they doing in effect? They're giving me such a rich user experience that I actually have a horrendous user experience. They've totally got it backwards. Just backwards. They don't understand what's important to the customer. What the customer wants is his music. Now, if you want to load pictures, fine. But do it on a separate thread in the background. Right? If I wanted to see pictures, I'd, or give me the option to turn it off. Frankly, I would love it if Google Play Music had the option to just say, I don't want any art at all, ever. Don't ever want to see any art. Couldn't care less what the artist looks like. Couldn't care less about the picture that you guys lifted from, People magazine or an album cover or whatever. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. It's not why I have a music app. I don't have a music app so I can see a bunch of pictures. So it wouldn't be a problem at all if it wasn't stupid. But when the software actually kind of burps and stutters and is choppy because you're trying to give me such a rich user experience, how amazingly stupid can you be? You can't be any stupider than that. You can't. It's mind-numbingly dumb. So we're kind of seeing the same thing here with OPENTOONZ. We've got the frame range feature, so you can save clicks, but because it always, always, always jumps back to the first palette entry, jumps back to color number 1, you wind up actually having to click just as much. Or at least after every iteration, you have to reselect. Now, if you had a frame range that was really, really long, then I will admit that you would probably be saving some time, if that was the only issue. But yeah, so I like ranting about stuff that seems dumb to me because, I had kind of a long rant a couple weeks ago or a week ago or whatever about this sort of thing where I'm going, wow, it's like a little surreal. In other words, what I'm saying is this is Google we're talking about. How did they miss that? How did they miss that? I don't get it. How did they think that I, as the user, am so enamored of seeing a picture pop up on my phone when I'm going to listen to some music that I think that actually makes my experience better when in fact it always consistently makes it worse. Google Play performs demonstrably worse than Spotify for that one reason. Because of the wonderful, exciting, thrilling, socially connected user experience, which is actually worse, not better. Dumb. Dumber than a box of rocks. But, folks, that is the world we live in today. This sort of thing happens a lot. So anyway, okay, let's hit the Control S so we're not being stupid. See, now one thing I'm going to have to do is a post-production effect here to go ahead and get the shadows on these guys. So I'm going to set auto markers and just review. Okay, so that's okay. We're going to obviously have to put the background in here. So let's jump up out of the sub-X sheet. And I don't know if, yeah, I guess I kind of have. Okay, this is interesting. Yes. Okay. When I did this shot, I need to look at what I put in here. Okay. So when we turn the color correction on, okay, this shot doesn't have color correction yet. So what does that mean? What it means is we've got this. Yeah, so we need to take all three of these. I wonder, can I literally take all three of these levels, hit Control C? I'm sure this is not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. Okay, go down into this sub-X sheet, click here, and hit Control V. Ah, it worked. It worked. Okay, so for all my ranting, I got to say, kudos to OPENTOONZ because that worked. Okay, and I can drag them all as a group to the left. And now all I have to do is grab these guys. Well, okay, I actually need to grab it like this. Drag these guys down till I see the keys from the rest of the shot right there. Now, What I really should do, this is actually, if you're going to learn anything from what I'm doing here today, this is kind of a good lesson. What I really want to do here is grab all three of these, and I'm going to hit Control Shift down arrow, which is the same as using the menus to say collapse, and I'm going to collapse these into a sub X sheet. Okay, so I'm going to delete those frames because they're not necessary. Okay, why did I do that? I did that so that I can basically treat this entire collection of layers as a group. Now I can see a little bit of a problem, obviously, in that the actually I see what's going on here. This is kind of interesting. I'm gonna wonder if shoot. Okay, why would undo take me down into the sub X sheet? Alright, I'm gonna undo deleting those frames. That didn't really do the trick. That did not do the trick. So the question is, why is it... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. Let's do it this way. Okay, what we can see here, this is kind of interesting. So doing it, putting these columns into a sub X sheet allows them to be treated as a single unit. However, there's another way. Let's do it this way. I'm going to hit the insert key. So if you're here to learn, this will teach you something. Now I'm going to hit the B key, and I'm just going to draw a dot. Now when I drew a dot, what it did was it created a new level for me. Okay? And I'm going to drag this level down to here. Okay. So we're gonna discover now a better way to treat all these levels as a unit. Okay? Background, column 3, column 4, and bed. Here's the way we're going to do it. Let's open the schematic view. I'm big on the schematic view because it's simple, it's actually quite straightforward, and it makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this column and I'm going to call it trans, T-R-A-N-S. Trans means translate. So there it is. Now we've got the background, we've got column 3, column 4, and the bed. And all we have to do is just reconnect all 4 of these levels to this level. And now, when we translate, when we hit the A key and animate that level, again, they all work as a group because these 4 levels are inheriting the translation from this level. Now, why is that better than using a peg bar? Simple. I never use peg bars. You know why? It's like another example of do what works and don't do what doesn't work. There may be a good reason to use peg bars, but if I insert a peg bar in here for the purpose, at least what I've learned is that's why you use peg bars, is to treat things as a group and that sort of thing. Problem is, the keyframes for animation with a peg bar don't show up in the X sheet. Whereas by just using a blank level, effectively as a peg bar, if you will, does cause them to show up in the X sheet. So let's go up here as far as we kind of reasonably can, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change its center to, gosh, we probably want to, I don't know, probably something like that. And then let's just scale this. I want to see if we can scale it down a little bit. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it down until we can't get away with scaling it anymore. I feel like that's about right. Okay, and obviously the color correction is going to be important, but okay, so now if I click this little button, it crops it, you know, to just what I want to see. And if we show it rendered, right now we don't have any color correction in there, so but we do have the correct preview range. So now I'm going to go Control S, save my work, and I'm going to go back out of here. I'm going to change my preview range. That's interesting. Okay, to here. So let's go up here and just set the start marker so that when we hit the L key, we... Okay, so he's coming in. Cool. Alright, so I'm going to turn on the preview, the proper rendered preview. Okay, I see what's going on. The grader, the main X sheet that contains all these sub X sheets, does have the color correction applied. I'm pretty sure we can see that in the schematic view. If we switch to effects mode, there it is. There's the color adjustment. So that's cool. So actually it is color corrected. Are we done? No, we're not done. The reason we're not done is because these guys need shadows. Shadows are a pain. Kind of. But you got to do it. That's what I said earlier. You got to love the work. So how are we going to do our shadows? There's more than one way to do shadows in OpenToonz. I'm going to say that in this case, let's make this fun. Let's hit the insert key and let's use a basic let's use a Toonz raster level. Yeah, we'll use a Toonz raster level. Okay. Now if I was using the nightly builds of OpenToonz, this would be even better because I could actually use the the Toonz raster levels have my paintbrushes now included, so it's a little better in the nightly build. I'm not really wanting to use that right now though. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep this real simple, and let's make the color red, and let's actually put it over top of him. So now you're going to see this obnoxious line like that, and I'm going to fill it. Fill. Okay. Now I'm going to hit the B key, and I'm going to go like this, and it doesn't really matter what I do because it's going to probably look okay in any case. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the shadow where I think it wants to be, and so you get the idea. Okay, so now that we got it looking good, let's turn the value down to 0. Let's turn the alpha down. Now we don't have to do it as a post-production effect. And then all we got to do is move this column so that it's under this one. When we hit preview, look at that. Now the only downside to it is it's not blurred, but I think that's okay in this case. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab these, delete them, and then just kind of do the same thing we did before, which is grab these, Control C, Control V, get rid of that last frame. We'll do auto markers here, and we should be able to preview it. Okay. Now the question becomes, do we want to do the same thing here? Let's add a Toonz raster level. Super bright red, super obnoxious, and okay, now think about this for a minute. That would have to go behind. Let me see if that's possible. Yes, we could put it behind the wall. Yes, that works. So let's just hit the F key. Alright. And oh dear. That was not good. We gotta make sure we close that up. Okay. Gotta zoom in so I can see what the heck is going on. You know what? Why am I doing it this way? Why don't I do it like this? That makes a lot more sense. Okay. So, I mean, yes and no. I'm just going to show you how. Because, I mean, obviously that shouldn't be in front. So this is one of those cases where I'm sort of making this up as I go along and trying different things as they sort of strike me. So I don't want to pretend that this is like the best approach ever, but pretty functional. Okay, next. Okay, fine. Next. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, just learned something. The B key to draw auto inserts, but guess what? The paintbrush doesn't. So, there you go. Okay, so now we should be able to take this, bring it down to black, bring the alpha down to, you know, something like that, and then we want to take this shadow and put it behind the wall but in front of the room. So there we go. And now we hit the L key, and you see a little bit of variation in shadow as he rises, so that works pretty well. File, save all. Okay, so the good news is I think we actually completed this shot. One could argue that the picture of the bed and Akari looks a little stupid, and that's fine. We don't care. File, save all. Okay, so now, what do we got? We've got, how long have we been going? 40 minutes. Okay. So now what's going to be kind of fun and interesting here is that we're into the next shot, and what's got to happen here, right now all we have is sticks and balls, so this is definitely, there's some work to do on this shot. Okay. Sticks and balls. Yeah, and I didn't even animate this, so, okay. So that means we get to have some fun. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and get busy. Okay. So, first thing we want to do is actually set this to 0. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of wing my pencil around a little bit so I'm sort of getting my groove on. I almost feel like I have a feeling, is this scaled or something? I don't know. Maybe I'm just not close enough. Let's see what happens if we move this up to 1. Kind of like that better. It feels better. Okay, so I just want to have a real loose sketch. So, sorry about the rant earlier about Google Play. I mean, for all my complaining, I use Google Play like every single day, like a lot. So, actually, I would still be doing Spotify if Google Play came as a freebie add-on by subscribing to what was then YouTube Red. So I think that was probably a year ago or so. I'm like, holy cow, I can get YouTube with no commercials ever. And as a bonus, I get the music. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I switched. Here we are. Now, does this guy have anything in his hands? I don't think he does. Okay, so let's just say, well, his hands initially are more or less a box kind of thing. Okay, his elbow would come to about there, so therefore the foreshortening's got to be pretty extreme. Something like that, as my friends from Decatur would say. It's kind of like, if you ever listen to Rush Limbaugh, I'm not like a huge fan anymore, I guess because I'm more liberal than I used to be, but I still enjoy the entertainment value. I mean, I think Rush is good at what he does. He's good at his job. I don't always agree with his political positions, but I think I would like the guy. You know, if we met at a party, I think we'd get along just fine. But he always makes fun of people from Rio Linda, California. I have no idea why. I don't know the story behind that, but I kind of make fun of people from Decatur because I lived there for 10 years. And in Decatur, I can't even do the accent, but there's a definite accent. It's only 10 miles from here, but yet it's a little bit of a southern Indiana accent, and one thing a lot of people say in Decatur is they leave the TH off the word that. So they don't say like that, they say like at. So I think this hand is a little small. And I'll tell you what, I'll show you what I'll do. I'll actually drag the center point here so that when I make it bigger, it actually, right, stretches from the correct place, which is kind of cool. Alright, so now, alright, see, now I sound kind of urban or something. Alright. I think what I meant to say was alright or okay. Okay. So now what should be happening here is there should be a little bit of a dramatic bend to the knees, in my opinion. Okay. So he's a little bit excited, and frankly, I would actually say his head should be tilted forward a little bit too. Yes, that's better. That's the S key, by the way, if you're wondering. Hit the S key to select part of your drawing and drag pieces of it around. Quite useful. Quite useful indeed. So the curvature of this is something like that. And then of course you got his knobby knees, and then the curvature is more like something like that. So if you're trying to figure out foreshortening, that's kind of one way to do it. There's more than one way, but you know, up here, and actually that suggests that maybe there's a problem in my drawing, because from the level of this knee should actually probably be about there. So boom. So that means I made a mistake. No big deal. Let's fix it. Let's just fix it. Looks kind of Jack Kirby, doesn't it? With the big round knees. Okay, and basically, because I'm moving fast and talking, first of all, Control S, I'm forgetting to save my work, which is going to get me in trouble again. But I'm also not actually drawing as well as I should. I'm kind of being a little sloppy here. So let's just slow down a bit, be more careful. Okay, I'm going to leave him for a moment. I'm going to come back to him. But what's really pertinent here is Ninja 2, because what's going to happen, because he's going to get animated. Ninja 1 is just standing there, but Ninja 2 is going to be flailing a bit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put his hair, the hair that some have described as Naruto hair. I never meant for him to look like Naruto at all, or anything. I mean, I just drew it, and just somebody commented, hey, it looks like Naruto's hair or something. So I'm like, okay, we'll call him Ninja Naruto, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to leave that loosey-goosey. What's going on here, maybe I'll just, I'm trying to stick to my work as opposed to jumping out and spending a bunch of time on stuff that's just like trying to explain things to you as the viewer, that where I'm not actually getting any work done. But I will say this. What happens next in the scene is this guy, because he's struggling to get in, he flails around and he knocks over this vase. So that's what's going on here. So, sorry, let's go down back into the sub-X sheet. And you can see, so I think we've got quite a few frames here, but I think what we should do is have probably, I don't have my webcam on right now, so I can't really show you this, but what I'm feeling is his weight is on the floor, so I'm thinking his left elbow should sneak forward a little bit, then his right elbow, and then at that point you'll be cutting to the next shot where you see his left elbow go forward again, but the second time it kicks the edge of this table right here and causes the vase to start to wobble. So my point is, it's kind of interesting. I'm going to jump to the drawing mode here. I want to look at this. Okay, why is it... Huh, okay. So as far as OPENTOONZ is concerned, this is all part of a single sequence. That's a little concerning. That's a little concerning. Okay, so given that that's true, this is what I think I should do. Actually, I'm gonna do one thing I've found with OPENTOONZ is when you get in a pickle, when you get in a pickle that has to do with file management, in other words, and the way OpenToonz is keeping track of stuff, which it looks to me like it's being a little funny how it keeps track of stuff. The solution is simple. Create a new level. Just create a new level. So I'm going to hit the B key and I'm just going to draw. So it's now I've got a new drawing here that's blank. And I do not want to be drawing. I don't want to be taking my art out of this old sequence of drawings where later OpenToonz is going to get confused. So all I'm going to do is just select it all, hit Control C, and paste it into this drawing here. Okay, and you can see it is scaled. That's why my pencil looked wrong. Okay, so cool. That's fine. Now what I can do is hit that. Go ahead and put these guys behind her. And now we'll do the same thing. Should we scale it with the Animate tool? I don't think so. I think what we probably should do is, let's turn this off. I'm kind of in hokey territory here, but okay, so what happened was the drawing itself got cut off. So that's not good. So I kind of made a mistake here. Let me see if I can reverse it. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. So let's go Control Z, Control Z. Okay, that's good. We still have our old drawing. So what I actually want to do, first of all, is delete that. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size of this drawing. Just to make my life easier, I'm just going to change the scale of it. So in the level menu, I want to change the canvas size, and that's a little buggy. I think what I need to do is grab the column up here. Nope. Grab the first frame. Yes, canvas size. Okay, so I'm going to make it a pretty big. Let's go to 3200 wide by 2500 tall. Let's just, just to be safe. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is hit the S key and grab this drawing, Control Z or C, and Control V. Okay, now I can go ahead and get this out of the way, and you will see when I go to the drawing, basics, I want to have this selected, and when I go to here, all I see is this one drawing. That's what I wanted. Okay, so now the question becomes, well, do we want to scale it here at the drawing level, or do we want to scale it at with the Animate tool? I want to scale it with the I just want to, let's get the drawing right is what I'm thinking. So if we're going to get the drawing right, what I need to do is set the midpoint probably here at the corner of the drawing that we like. And OpenToonz just auto-saved. So that we can then grab the scale tool, and it's going real slow. OpenToonz is not being responsive. So I'm going to let go and see what happens. OpenToonz just blew up. Damn it. Well, it's bad, but it's good. I mean, the good news is that OpenToonz literally auto-saved a moment earlier, so it should be the case that I didn't lose any work. So, no big deal. I mean, it's just part of using OpenToonz. You just have to reload stuff every once in a while. I mean, how many times has it happened today? Like 3 in an hour? So it's just not that big of a deal. As you can see, I didn't lose any work. So I'm going to jump down here, and if this is too clunky, I'm going to do it the simple way, which is to just use the Animate tool instead of trying to. Okay, that didn't work. Let's do this again. Grab everything. Okay. And yes, it did not grab the top half of the drawing. Okay, that's it. I quit. I'm done. I'm going to the Animate tool. With the Animate tool, I can just scale it, and I'll match it up to the old drawing. So there it is. It's matched. Scale tool. Let's go to position. That's certainly close enough. And with that, we can turn this level off and just continue forward here. So, as you can see, if we go to the drawings, now what we can do is hit duplicate, duplicate. I want to make 2 duplicates. Okay, and I'm going to come back here, and I guess what I'm going to do is, let's see, it would be 1. It's almost every second. Let's just go to here, and I'm going to hit the W key. So now that gives me frame, or drawing 210. And then I'm going to hit the W key again, so I get drawing 211, and this should be 210. This is one thing with OpenToonz that's a little bit stupid. Now I have to go down. I have to like do this a million times. Okay. So it would have been easier just to delete all these frames and just drag and drop the drawings in, but that's okay. Maybe for fun, I'll go ahead and let it come back to drawing 210 right there. Why not? Okay. So that's fine. Now I have 3 drawings, and actually I might be able to save some time by doing a little bit of stretchy poo. Okay, so what I mean, so because I duplicated the drawings, there's kind of a plus and a minus to that. The minus is that this guy never changes throughout the shot, so any additional drawing I do on him is kind of going to have to be done twice. Actually, 3 times. Well, let's do it 1 time. This will be our strategy. We'll do it 1 time, but then when we ink it, we'll put him on a separate level. That way he'll only have to be actually drawn and inked 1 time. Okay, so no problem. So what we want to do here is a little tricky, but what I want to do is grab just this guy. And I think what I maybe want to do is a shear operation. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to hit the S key again. I'm going to put the center here so I can sort of rotate his arm. What I want to do is push forward a little bit. Okay, so now let me jump between these 2 drawings. Okay, that's not too bad. And really stretching here to see if I can make this work without having to actually redraw it, which is maybe dumb. But I just want to see if I can get the basic feel. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. 1. So he goes 1, 2, 3. And then it'll jump to the other shot, at which point he'll knock over the vase. So I think the smart thing to do at this point would be save my work, jump out, and like let's start like here, and then let's go to here so we can just see the flow of it. Okay, I didn't really see the animation happening there. Let's crop that. I see what's going on. I see what's going on here. There's something out of sync with the sub-X sheet. Okay, so let me look at this. This is starting at 209 and going to 253. I'll bet you it's not that way in the sub-X sheet. 209 to 253. Let's go down into it. 209 to 250. Yeah, it does seem to be right. So why is this a classic? Yep, this is a classic OpenToonz dummy thing. What it did was it didn't save the changes. It did not save the changes. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put the center there, do a rotation, and a slight scale. Okay, so now I'm going to hit save. Maybe that will help. Let's see what happens. Boom, boom. Okay, yes and no. Honestly, on this one, his head really needs to move. So let's go like this, like that. Okay. So now 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that going to 210 doesn't really work. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, going back does not work. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so now let's save that and let's jump back up out and see if it kind of sort of worked. Yeah, the timing's actually right. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. I like it. Okay? And with that, I'm going to be done for today. Save all. Good progress. And I'll see you next time.